a new member. Announcements by the presiding officer.
Members, as you are all aware, the presiding officer must endeavor to avoid becoming embroiled in controversial and/or political issues and is not expected to make decisions on constitutional or legal matters. He or she is, however, required to give guidance and rule on all procedural matters with respect to the conduct of the business of this House. It is for this reason that I sought to provide guidance on the procedure to be followed in the passage of bills through this Assembly in a statement issued during the sitting of the 22nd of September 2011, a procedure which conformed with the provisions of the standing orders and for which precedent had been set. This was also the sitting for which the order of business, circulated some 6 days prior to the sitting date, listed the short title of both bills under the heading Introduction of Bills in accordance with established practice. Some 3 weeks later, the order of business relative to the special sitting scheduled for 20th of October 2011 was circulated to all members. It was when the presiding officer entered the chamber to signal the commencement of this sitting that it was observed that there were no minority members present. During the lunch break, it was explained that the minority members chose to hold a media conference in the foyer of the building rather than attend the sitting that was being held in the chamber at that time. What is passing strange is that at no time before nor since has the minority leader sought to inform the presiding officer of any concerns he and his members might have been harboring with respect to the conduct of the business of the House, but chose instead to orchestrate a path of blatant disrespect to the office of presiding officer and the present holder of that position. With respect to the suggestion that the documents representing the views of the people of Tobago should have been tabled as motions and not bills, I wish to confirm that the choice to table the documents as motions would have represented the only other alternative format available for listing matters to be debated under public business. Standing Order 25.1 relates. In debating a motion under public business, however, the mover of the motion is required to read the document in its entirety at least once during the original presentation, and the presiding officer is required to read each such document twice in proposing the matter for debate and again in putting the matter to the House for voting at the end of the debate. This is in accordance with Standing Order 32.1. Given the choice of procedures, in considering a document of approximately 30 pages, the length of one of these bills, I am sure that there would have been consensus in the choice to table the documents as bills, particularly when such a decision had the concurrence of senior counsel and the former Attorney General. To conclude that because the act of tabling a motion in September 2005 led to the Tobago House of Assembly Amendment Act 2006, this process should be used as a blueprint in all cases is to be short-sighted at best. The total amendment then was deleting the word 5 and substituting the word 7 in section 33(1)(c) of the Tobago House of Assembly Act. The Tobago House of Assembly cannot repeal the Tobago House of Assembly Act, nor can it amend the Constitution. After the bills have been read a third time and passed, therefore, the clerk of the Assembly will transmit them to the Chief Secretary for conveyance to Cabinet as the Assembly's position on self-government for Tobago, and seek to have the government put in train the necessary process for achieving that objective consistent with the results of the debate. Should the matter be favorably considered, the lawmaking process would then begin, with Cabinet introducing relevant bills which might contain some or all of the information provided by the Tobago House of Assembly, and taking same through all stages in both houses of Parliament before sending to the President for his assent in accordance with the provisions of Section 61 of the Constitution.
Presentation of reports from Dispute Resolution Commission, Select Committees. Questions to Secretaries. Questions for written answers appear at Appendix 1. Questions for oral answers.
Can we deal with the questions for written answer?
Madam Presiding Officer, question number 5 to the Secretary for Education, Youth Affairs and Sport, bearing my name.
Madam Presiding Officer, the project in question was implemented by the Division of Infrastructure and Public Utilities on behalf of the Division of Education, Youth Affairs and Sport. I have therefore requested the relevant information from the Secretary of Infrastructure and Public Utilities. As soon as the information is provided, the response would be so presented to the House.
Madam Presiding Officer, question number 6 to the Secretary of Agriculture, Marine Affairs, Marketing and the Environment, bearing my name.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Madam Presiding Officer, regrettably, I will have to ask for an additional period of time as the information is in the process of being gathered and it is not complete at this particular point in time. And I would undertake to ensure that I have the information available for the next sitting, the answer to the question. Thank you.
Okay, Madam Presiding Officer, question number 7 to the Chief Secretary, bearing my name.
Requests for leave to move the adjournment of the Assembly on definite matters of urgent public importance. Statements by secretaries or assistant secretaries. Personal explanations. Introduction of bills. Motions relating to the business or sittings of the Assembly and moved by a secretary or assistant secretary. Public business, Executive Council business, bills second reading. The debate on the second reading of the following bills, which was in progress when the House adjourned on Thursday, October 20th, 2011, will be resumed.
Members, at the previous debate on this bill, it ended, when the debate ended, we were in the process of going on to the second reading. I want now to invoke Standing Order 9. And I would like first to put it to the House that we reopen the debate to satisfy any of the minority members who were not present at that time and who might want to make a contribution. What that means is the presenter of the bill would have to be given an opportunity to close the bill again. Having reopened it, he would have to. So if there are any members who would like to contribute to this bill, bearing in mind, you know, the rules governing the contribution, please indicate now so that you can be accommodated. If there are no members willing to take up the opportunity, then can we move on?
But that is a bad move. That had to be a bad move. No. But it was really ridiculous. That is the worst. That is the worst.
Can we continue then? The move of the bill. The move of the bill.
Madam Presiding Officer, in light of the response to your very generous offer, I have no option but to request that they go into committee to have the bill discussed and eventually referred back to the body. Madam Presiding Officer, I so move.
Members, the real question is that this bill be now read a second time. So could we ask that the member just use the words of the text? I have to be careful now.
Yes, Madam Presiding Officer. But there were reasons why I went down that road. So let me just say I beg to move that the bill be read a second time.
All right, members, the question is that the bill be now read a second time. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those against say nay. The ayes have it. The bill, therefore, we will now stand committed. The Assembly will now stand committed to a committee of the whole Assembly so that the bill could be considered in the committee stage. So we now resolve ourselves into a committee of the whole Assembly. And we'll invite members in the public to stay on for this section. We're now considering the first bill, an act to amend the Constitution to provide the entrenchment of certain provisions relating to the Tobago House of Assembly and related matters. So we start with close.
Bill number 1, clauses 1 to 5.
I need to observe that I have not got a list of amendments for this bill, so I can only conclude that there are no amendments. Bill number 1. Which one is this? Okay. Okay. Well, because you have here, okay. All right, typos, the presiding officer could take care of that. Yeah. All right, I'll call out your clauses on the line.
Bill number 1, clauses 1 to 5.
Members, the question is that clauses 1 to 5 do form part of the bill. All those in agreement say aye. Aye. All those against say nay. The ayes have it. Therefore, clauses 1 to 5 would form part of the bill, stand part of the bill.
Clauses 141A1 to 141F.
Members, clauses 141A1 to 141F. We have no amendments, so I wish to propose that clauses 141A1 to 141F do stand as part of the bill. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those against say nay. The ayes have it. Therefore, clauses 141A1 to 141F now stand as part of the bill.
Preamble to the bill.
Members, the question is that the preamble to the bill now stand as part of the bill. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those against say nay. The preamble to the bill, therefore, will now stand as part of the bill. That brings us to the end of bill number 1. So can we therefore move on?
Bill number 2.
No. Let's finish with bill number 1, report it, and then we move on to 2. So we need to report. No, you could sit and move.
Madam Presiding Officer, I beg to report that the House in committee has approved Bill number 1. I beg to report that the bill entitled An Act to Repeal and the Constitution amend the Constitution to provide the entrenchment of certain provisions relating to the Tobago House of Assembly Act and related matters. I beg to report the bill to the House from the committee and request that it be read a third time.
Bill number 1, entitled An Act to Amend the Constitution to Provide the Entrenchment of Certain Provisions relating to the Tobago House of Assembly and related matters, be read a third time and passed. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those against say nay. The ayes have it. Therefore, Bill number 1, an act to amend the Constitution to provide the entrenchment of certain provisions relating to the Tobago House of Assembly and related matters, is now passed. We now move on to dealing with Bill number 2.
Madam Presiding Officer, I beg to move that Bill number 2, an act to repeal and replace the Tobago House of Assembly Act, Chapter 2503, to provide for the reestablishment of the Tobago House of Assembly and to prescribe its powers and functions and related matters, be read a second time.
Members, the question is that Bill number 2, an act to repeal and replace the Tobago House of Assembly Act, Chapter 2503, to provide for the re-establishment of the Tobago House of Assembly, to prescribe its powers and functions and related matters, be now read a second time. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those against say nay. The ayes have it. The House will now resolve itself into committee stage to consider the bill clause by clause.
Presiding Officer, whereas the bill entitled An Act to Repeal and Replace the Tobago House of Assembly Act, Chapter 2503, to provide for the reestablishment of the Tobago House of Assembly, to prescribe its powers and function and related matters, has been considered in committee of the House and approved. I beg to move that the bill be read a third time and pass.
Members, the question is that an act to repeal and replace the Tobago House of Assembly Act, Chapter 2503, to provide for the re-establishment of the Tobago House of Assembly, to prescribe its powers and functions and related matters, be read a third time and passed. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those against say nay. The ayes have it. Therefore, this bill has now been read a third time and passed, as indicated in my statement at the beginning. The bills will now be sent to the Chief Secretary, and he would in turn send them to the Cabinet, where a decision will be made as to what would become of the comments of the citizens resident in Tobago.
Madam Presiding Officer, I beg to move that this House will now stand adjourned to a date to be fixed.
Members, the question is that this House do now stand adjourned to a date to be fixed. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those against say nay. The ayes have it. This House therefore now stands adjourned to a date to be fixed.